Can you ever have sympathy for a serial killer? Let's find out in the book club. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson at Dave Musson on Instagram. This is a place where normally I talk to you about Stephen King, but in this spin-off series I recommend good books to you. Yes, this is the book club. Do check out the links in the description to find my range of Stephen King themed banter, my own collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sun, link to sign up to my newsletter, loads of other things as well. But most of all, thank you for checking this video out. If you haven't checked out the other recommendations in the book club, do check out the full playlist. It's already jam-packed full of excellent books for you to read. Now, if you're new to the book club or it's been a while, just a reminder that this is where I'm recommending books to you that I think you will like. Now, most people on my channel are here because of Stephen King, so naturally most of the books I'm recommending your way are horror books. And what I'll do in these book club episodes is pretty simple. I'll give you a synopsis of the book, I'll tell you a bit about the author, I'll give you my spoiler-free review of the book, and I'll try and align it to a Stephen King book. So if you're trying to decide whether or not you should give this one a go, at least you've got that reference point for which King book it might be a little bit like. Does that sound okay? Good. So in this episode, I'm talking about a brand new book that is out today, the 15th of October. So today, if you're watching this video, the day it goes live. And it's a book that, well, is about as dark as you like. This is Schroeder by Neal Cassidy. Let's get into it. So let's start with the synopsis. So Schroeder is a new novel by Neal Cassidy, and, well, here's the synopsis. When an ordinary young man wakes up in his quiet neighbourhood on a day seemingly like all the others, the city he's lived in all his life has no idea what's about to befall it once he sets out on a day-long bike ride, carrying a purposefully packaged backpack and a definitive plan. Who is Schroeder, and what motivates his brutal killing spree? As he cycles from one victim's house to the next, keeping pace with the rhythm of the city that burgeons to life, under an increasingly dazzling sun exposing both its beauty and vivacity and its dark, dirty underbelly, Schroeder lays bare his dreams, disappointments, delights and dismays, establishing himself as a compelling, contemporary anti-hero. The day rolls ominously towards its climax through hectic city streets, lush suburban gardens, stately mansions and decrepit housing projects, punctuated by Schroeder's reflections on a society in shambles and a deeply damaged, if not broken, humanity. But not without revealing life's boundless wonder and infinite possibilities for joy and redemption through moments that are within and yet tragically beyond Schroeder's grasp. A tell-all denouement brings Schroeder out of the shadows of his actions, the pathos of his questions about the kind of world we live in, lingering long after. And while I'm reading off screen a bit about the author, there isn't much. Neal Cassidy is the author of The Final Weekend, A Stone Tale, and Schroeder. He was raised in Forest and is a graduate of the Neen School and lives nowhere in particular. I am who I am not, but who I wanted to be. Quote by Neal Cassidy. And for more information, visit thenealcassidy.com. Okay, there's your background. Let's get on with my review. So I found this to be a dark and compelling read that absolutely hooked me in every time I picked it up. It's told us this stream of consciousness account, and we follow Schroeder, our lead character, on what turns out to be quite a day, as he goes around, as the synopsis has already said, quite violently and splatter-fully killing people in very gory and quite creative ways. But there's this lingering feeling throughout the whole story that Schroeder isn't necessarily the bad guy. So I was really impressed with how I was able to empathise with this serial killer lead character throughout the book, not just in the diary section at the end that kind of pulls everything together and confirms most of the things that you're probably thinking as you go through this book. And that's not to say it's predictable, because it isn't, but the diary does kind of tie it all up at the end. But no, it's actually through Schroeder's musings and observations of life as he is cycling from one victim to the next. There was something so engrossing in the way he viewed the world that really, really humanized him and almost made you forget what you just read literally pages before, where he's doing quite awful and terrible things to people. This one is not for any readers with a sensitive stomach. The killings here are frequent and violent and don't flinch on any details, and they don't give you any opportunity to look away either. They're really creatively done as well. We've got gunshots, we've got burials, we've got dismemberments, we've got one of the most original uses of a can of fizzy drink I've ever seen in literature. Like, you can almost feel the splatter splashing you in the face as you read those sections of the book. It's also not a book for people with short attention spans either. So as I mentioned, it's delivered in this stream of consciousness style, which means lots of long, winding, is that even a word? I don't know. Very long sentences, which are a bit difficult to get into at first. But stick with them, because once you get into them and they click, that's when you really start to see Schroeder's view of the world. And that's where you really start to embrace him as a character and see him beyond just what he's doing people, and start getting inside his head and start wondering, what is the motivation behind all this? Why is all of this happening? There was one passage in particular where Schroeder was trying to think of happy thoughts, and he just went on for pages and pages of just picking out life's small little pleasures, just really simple everyday things that just had me nodding almost every other one. And again, it was one of those sections that just completely made you forget what you'd just read before, and again really made you fall for this character and want to know what's going on. Why is he doing all this? What has caused him to take this particular path? I thought that was what was most impressive, most creative, and most compelling about the book. Not necessarily the violence and the kills, although for horror fans, really, really great. But it's the why. What's going on here? And just being with this character who has this almost childlike view of the world in many passages, and is able to look at the world with a sense of detachment and really offer quite cutting observations and thoughts and feelings about it, and yet be so brutal and devastating at the same time. Just a really, really engaging mix. So when it comes to aligning this to a Stephen King book, it's quite an easy one here. It's Rage. This one feels like a modern day, better written and slightly less problematic version of Rage by Stephen King / Richard Bachman. The fact we are inside the head of the killer the whole time, and it's a much more complex character than simply a bad person doing bad things. And this character has some very interesting views on the world. It all feels very Charlie Decker. So to sum up, this book has lots of violence, obviously, but also lots to make you think. And as I said at the very start, a book that makes you empathise with a deadly killer, which is pretty impressive. Now, the diary section at the end that wraps it all up is kind of cute, but works in the context of the book. And actually, it doesn't tick off every single box. It doesn't give you every single answer. So it's not as neat as it might sound. And also, you have to bear in mind, we still only get one perspective in this book. So there is doubt throughout this. Like, can we trust Schroeder as a narrator? And that's what I've been chewing over in the week or so since I finished the book, and continue to ponder now. It's like, how much of that empathy that he's earned from me should I actually be giving him? And that's where things start to get really interesting. So this book is out today, 15th of October, 2024. And yes, as with all of the books in the book club, I think you should go and read it. Thank you so much to the publisher and to NetGalley for giving me an advance copy so I can review it for you. And, well, hope you go and check it out. That's it, another episode of the book club done. Thanks for checking this episode out. Do check out Schroeder if it sounds like something you can stomach. And other things to check out, well, my own collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sun. Some violence in there, not as violent as Schroeder, but some stuff for horror fans to enjoy. You've got my Stephen King range of band shirts, my newsletter, all of those kind of things. But most of all, thank you for checking this out. I've got loads of Stephen King content elsewhere on this channel if you've not explored that yet, so do take a look. But otherwise, take care, and I will see you back here for another episode of the book club very soon.